Mannheim, Germany, July 3rd, 1886. Karl Benz stands nervously beside a strange three-wheeled contraption on the Ringstrasse. It looks like a bicycle married to a park bench, with a massive horizontal flywheel spinning beneath the seat. A single-cylinder engine chugs away, producing a whopping 2/3 of 1 horsepower. Benz climbs aboard, engages the belt drive, and slowly, very slowly, putters down the street at 10 miles per hour. No horses, no steam locomotive, just a gasoline-powered engine propelling a vehicle designed specifically to carry people. The first automobile has just taken its maiden voyage. In Germany, not Detroit, not anywhere in America. 5 months earlier, on January 29, 1886, Benz had filed German patent number 37435 for an automobile fueled by gas. That patent, not Henry Ford's assembly line, not Ransom Old's curved dash runabout, marks the birth of the automobile industry. This is the story of how a German engineer invented the car, how his wife proved it worked, and how America somehow convinced itself it invented the automobile. Before Benz, the steam era. Cars didn't appear from nowhere. For over a century, inventors had been trying to build self-propelled vehicles using steam engines. In 1769, Nicolas Joseph Cugnot built the first steam-powered vehicle in France. Throughout the 1870s, Amédée Bollée created several steam cars that could carry passengers. But steam cars were terrible. Historians describe them as distinctly uncommercial, unsafe, and difficult to manage. They required constant water refills, took forever to build up steam pressure, broke down constantly. They were engineering curiosities, not practical transportation. What changed everything was the internal combustion engine, specifically the 4-stroke gasoline engine perfected by Nicholas Otto in the 1860s and 1870s. The Otto engine was compact, powerful, and didn't need a massive boiler. It made the modern automobile possible. Karl Benz knew this. After developing a successful 2-stroke gasoline engine in 1873, he set his sights on something bigger, a vehicle powered entirely by internal combustion. Not a modified carriage, not a steam contraption with a new engine, a purpose-built automobile designed from scratch. Building the motor wagon, Benz didn't come from wealth. Born Carl Friedrich Michael Valiant on November 25, 1844, in Mühlburg, now part of Karlsruhe. He was the son of a railway engine driver who died in a railway accident when Karl was 2. His mother raised him on a small income, but she ensured he received excellent education. Benz studied mechanical engineering at Karlsruhe Polytechnic and began working as a designer of stationary engines. His real passion, however, was bicycles and the idea of motorized personal transport. In 1885, Benz built his patent motor wagon in his workshop in Mannheim. It featured revolutionary innovations: a tubular steel frame, wire-spoked wheels with solid rubber tires, a water-cooled single-cylinder 4-stroke engine producing 0.9 horsepower, electric ignition using a battery and spark plug, which Benz designed himself, and a simple belt transmission system. The vehicle was awarded German patent number 37435 on January 29, 1886. The original cost, 600 German marks, about $150 at the time, equivalent to roughly $5,200 today. But there was a problem. The first public demonstration in 1885 was a disaster. The 1885 version was difficult to control, leading to a collision with a wall during the event. Benz went back to his workshop, made improvements, and tried again in July 1886. This time it worked. Benz drove his motor wagon through Mannheim at a thrilling 10 miles per hour. It was loud, smoky, and terrifying to horses. But it ran. Bertha's journey. Karl Benz had invented the automobile, but nobody wanted to buy it. For 2 years, the motor wagon sat unsold. Investors were skeptical. The public was indifferent. Benz was growing discouraged. Then his wife, Bertha, decided to take matters into her own hands. On the morning of August 5th, 1888, Bertha, supposedly without Karl's knowledge, took patent motor wagon number 3, grabbed her teenage sons Eugen and Richard, and set off on a 65-mile journey from Mannheim to Pforzheim to visit her mother. This was the world's first long-distance automobile trip, and it was an adventure. Bertha had to stop at pharmacies along the route to buy Ligroin, a petroleum solvent used as fuel. When the leather brake pads wore out on downhill slopes, she stopped at a shoemaker and had him nail leather strips onto the brake blocks, inventing modern brake linings in the process. When a fuel line clogged, she cleared it with a hatpin. When the ignition wire short-circuited, she insulated it with her garter. She was mechanic, navigator, and test driver all at once. Bertha and her sons arrived in Pforzheim at nightfall and sent Karl a telegram announcing their achievement. The trip generated enormous publicity. Bertha had proved the motor wagon was practical, reliable, and capable of real travel, not just short demonstration runs. She also made design suggestions. The early motor wagon had only 2 gears and couldn't climb steep hills. Bertha suggested adding a 3rd gear. Karl did. Sales began to increase. The first car companies. By late summer 1888, the Benz patent motor wagon became the first commercially available automobile in history. The second customer was Emile Roger, a Parisian bicycle manufacturer who had been building Benz engines under license. Roger added Benz automobiles to his Paris showroom. Wait, Emile Roger? Wasn't the caption claiming Emile Levasseur worked with Benz? Not quite. Levasseur was indeed crucial to early automobile history, but not as Benz's collaborator. Levasseur partnered with René Panhard to form Panhard-Levasseur in 1890. They built cars using Gottlieb Daimler's engines, not Benz's. Roger sold 1 Benz motor wagon to Levasseur in 1888, but Levasseur's company used Daimler technology. Between 1886 and 1893, about 25 patent motor wagons were built. Benz's company, Benz Kie, became the world's largest automobile company by 1899, producing 572 cars that year. Meanwhile, Gottlieb Daimler and Wilhelm Maybach were independently developing their own automobiles in Germany. On March 8, 1886, just 2 months after Benz's patent, Daimler fitted his engine to a modified stagecoach, creating the first 4-wheeled automobile. Benz and Daimler never met during this period. They were rivals working in parallel, unaware of each other's progress. Their companies wouldn't merge until 1926, forming Daimler-Benz, the company that produces Mercedes-Benz today. America enters the story. So when did America start building cars? Much later than you'd think. Charles and Frank Duryea built America's first gasoline-powered automobile in 1893, 7 years after Benz. Ransom Olds began production in 1901. Henry Ford founded the Ford Motor Company in 1903. What America did brilliantly wasn't inventing the car. It was perfecting mass production. Ford's assembly line, introduced in 1913, made cars affordable for average Americans. The Model T cost $850 in 1908 and dropped to $260 by 1925. That's what changed the world. But the invention itself? That happened in Germany by Karl Benz in 1886. Why the myth persists. Ask most Americans who invented the car, and they'll say Henry Ford, or maybe Thomas Edison, or just America. The myth persists because America dominated the 20th century automobile industry so completely that we retroactively claimed the invention. But history is clear. Karl Benz filed the first automobile patent, built the first production automobile, founded the first automobile company. The evidence is documented, preserved, and indisputable. The 1886 Benz patent Motorwagen sits in the Deutsches Museum in Munich. Replicas exist in museums worldwide, including the Mercedes-Benz Museum in Stuttgart. You can visit them, see the wire wheels, the horizontal flywheel, the single-cylinder engine. Karl Benz is universally recognized as the father of the automobile for good reason. He earned it in Mannheim in 1886, not Detroit, not 1903. The final mile. So here's what happened. On January 29, 1886, German engineer Karl Benz patented the first practical automobile. On July 3, 1886, he drove it publicly in Mannheim. In August 1888, his wife Bertha proved its reliability with a 65-mile journey, inventing brake linings along the way. America didn't invent the car. Germany did. What America invented was the assembly line that made cars affordable. That's still revolutionary, still world-changing. But it's not the same as inventing the automobile. Next time someone claims Henry Ford invented the car, you can correct them. The first car was German, built by Karl Benz, patented in 1886, and test-driven by his fearless wife, who cleared fuel lines with her hatpin and fixed brakes with her garter. That's how the automobile age really began.